African women shaking the continent, we are shaking the continent, we are shaking the continent, we are shaking the continent, shake, shake, shake.
African leaders declared 2015 as the year of women empowerment and development, while 2016 will focus on women's rights. The call for action of the 2014 Durban Women in Agribusiness Conference recommended that NEPAD make the conference an annual event to continue to engage women along agricultural value chains on the road towards the implementation of all policies, resolutions, and frameworks that seek to develop women and encourage their participation in the agricultural and agribusiness sector.
In here is coming from all of you. I'm only reading. It's not made up by me. So I'm reading what have come from the conversations that we have so actively participated in the last 2 days. So, key messages from the second Women in Agribusiness Conference in Durban, South Africa. The first message is a call that we implement the call to action on women in agribusiness that was made at the inaugural session in 2014. The second message says we should create the enabling environment we should call for the creation of an enabling environment by governments for women to actively participate in agribusiness, agro-processing and production along the value chain. I think this is one of the key points that messages in this meeting, that we need to look along the value chain and not focus, just on production and farm. Women should use their voices to advocate for change and influence public policies that are favorable for women in agribusiness. There's a need to enhance partnerships and networks at all levels, especially intra-African connection. And in this respect, to support and promote intra-African exchange and information sharing. African women are not invaluable resources for economic empowerment and should be seen as partners in development. There's a call to advocate for an increase of women access to financing, and that modalities should be simplified to allow for women to access financing. Another call is to promote education, training, and professional development, and to make this aspect a standing element of the Women in Agribusiness Forum meeting. Another call to invest in education and training policies and programs that open avenues for advancement of women at all levels and across all business areas, and encourage women to enter non-traditional job fields. I think it was so inspiring yesterday when we saw the video of the farmer who won the Farmer of the Year award in KwaZulu-Natal. Seeing her, the troughs, the chick, there are some things that in your mind you think this is a man's job. But she was doing them. So it just says to us, it's all in the mind. If you believe in yourself that you can do it, there's nothing that stops us as women to do what men can do. Of course, sometimes they have more strength, so it's also okay to ask them to carry the bag or to put the ladder up. I don't think we should hesitate in doing that. There's another call to implement enterprise development, supply chain, and marketing practices that empower women, to provide equal opportunities for formal and informal networking and mentoring, and to encourage agribusiness agencies or agricultural institutions to be more gender sensitive.
Allow me to talk about my businesses. I've got 3 different farming businesses, which is Gungo Vegetables, Meat and Ranches, and Gungo Consultants. Gungo Vegetables is a farm which is 35 hectares, and we have got 15 hectares, which is dedicated to vegetables only. 20 hectares, we have started a fruit production project. We employ about 15 people at Kumo Farms, which is a very large number of people considering that we are only 2 million in Botswana. The kind of opportunities that we have at Kumo Farms is that we've got access to export market. And some of the things that I do most of the time is during these meetings is networking. And earlier I was talking to somebody from Kenya and they were telling me that they're really interested in the vegetable business because when you go to Kenya, come lunchtime you will find no vegetable produce in these big supermarkets. And I feel it's one of the opportunities that we can actually do, capture as African farmers, especially the ones from Southern Africa in a small country as Botswana with limited population and a limited market. Also, if you go to the Middle East, they are also open for business, and we feel that these are some of the opportunities that we have at Kumo Vegetables. Also, the kind of opportunities that are there are new policies which are supporting nutrition. I'm going to give a very simple example. Right now here, if I ask 5 people what they were eating today and what is the nutritional benefit of what they were eating, they will not tell me, including myself. So we want to use this as a marketing tool to the vegetables that we are growing and the fruits to actually make people realize what they are eating and how important it is. Let me get an example with broccoli and cauliflowers. Do you know that they actually provide more vitamin C than the citrus that we eat? We don't know. We are continuously growing cabbages, including myself, because we do not understand. But if farmers and consumers knew this information, they will be able to buy more of it and it will create a bigger market for us. So all these policies which are coming up supporting nutrition, we feel that it is an opportunity for us as farmers. The other thing that we are doing, due to the growing number of sophisticated customers, people who want to know what they are eating, how they are eating it, and where it comes from. This is a very big market for us to actually analyze the whole market and understand what they need so that we can provide for them.
NEPAD launched the Women in Agribusiness Forum in March 2015 in Johannesburg as part of its strides to ensure an enabling environment for women in agribusiness to move forward and make progress. In particular, women in business were excited about the prospects of bringing women in agribusiness together to discuss agribusiness issues, share lessons, and learn best practices. Equal access to resources and opportunities for women, such as access to credit, land, local and international markets, access to innovative technologies, enabling women's voices to be heard as equal partners for increased agricultural productivity, food security and sustainable development, opportunities for training and capacity building initiatives, as well as strengthening of organized women groups. Women are responsible for up to 80% of food production, 60% of harvesting, 80% of food storage and transport from fields to villages. They are also responsible for 100% of the processing of basic foodstuffs as well as 60% of marketing activities.
We need to change all the talk to action. We need women to fully appreciate the power that they do have in this continent. As you heard all of yesterday, women are producing 80% of the foodstuff that feed, African families. That's significant economic power. Let alone, let me not go to the political power in terms of elections. So what we are saying is, these women that we are talking about are not vulnerable women. They're not waiting for handout. These are women who are already doing a lot. What we need is for government officials, civil society organizations, development partners, experts and ministries, politicians, to accompany these women by setting the right conditions. So my point was that they should make their voice heard. They have a voice, and I believe that voice is not sufficiently heard. They need to be able to be given the space, like through the media. You can talk to these women so that they can express their successes, their challenges, and put them on print so that it's out there in the public. You have to finance upfront before you get reimbursed. That is not very helpful because the woman might not have that money, that capital to first invest before getting reimbursement from the government. So having a fund that will say, perhaps you give them 80% and they use it, and once they sell and get something, then they can get the remaining 20%. So I think innovativeness in how these funds are structured is of critical importance. Secondly, I think when NGOs or development partners do come to say they want to support them, it shouldn't be what these NGOs want to do or what is development partners. It should be what the women think will be useful for them. So they must drive the agenda. Let's move from a supply approach to development assistance to a demand approach where it is what the women want, the kind of funding they think will help them, the kind of capacity building they think will help them. Should be what should inform development assistance and support that comes from different actors to women.
The 2015 conference was built around entrepreneurship for women through policies, capacity building and resources aimed to facilitate women entrepreneurship within agribusiness. In addition to income generation, entrepreneurship can legitimize rural women's control over resources and empower them within their communities and in their homes. This is important since women invest more in food and health care for their families and their children's education. Rural women's entrepreneurship clearly represents untapped potential which can contribute towards economic growth in developing countries. In recognition of these, the 2014 Call for Action also recommends a shared objective in strengthening inclusive growth, employment generation, and sustainable livelihoods for African women producers and African business entrepreneurs, stressing that women entrepreneurship should be at the center of agriculture and food security.
C'est la parole. Madame le directeur des programmes, Excellence et honorable qui êtes sur la table, chère Excellence qui se trouve dans la salle, mesdames et messieurs, chers collègues, femmes rurales de l'agribusiness, nous sommes au terme de nos travaux sur l'agribusiness. Je voudrais tout d'abord saisir cette grande opportunité pour remercier le NEPAD. Remercier le NEPAD d'avoir associé toutes les femmes rurales africaines à cette grande initiative de transformer l'agriculture africaine. Et à travers ces remerciements, j'aimerais dire particulièrement nos encouragements à Estherine, qui est une dame et qui sait prendre sa place. Elle a dit le premier jour que nous devons prendre notre pouvoir. Et je pense qu'elle essaye de faire de son mieux pour porter haut la voix des femmes. Je voudrais qu'on applaudisse pour Estherine. Je voudrais maintenant m'adresser à mes sœurs africaines. Nous sommes des leaders et quand nous sommes ici, nous représentons les femmes qui sont restées au fond des villages où la pauvreté est rampante. Et chaque jour, nous nous sommes engagés justement à parler en leur nom, à nous mobiliser en leur nom, à pouvoir plaidoyer pour que leurs conditions changent. Et quand nous rentrons, nous devons répondre à la question qui nous a été posée le premier jour. Que faisons-nous au sortir de cette conférence? C'est très important pour que l'année prochaine, nous ayons des expériences à partager par rapport à notre engagement vis-à-vis de l'engagement d'aujourd'hui, si je peux me le permettre. Et je pense que notre engagement doit continuer, elle doit se poursuivre malgré les difficultés. Nous devons mieux nous organiser au-delà de nos intérêts individuels, au-delà de nos intérêts personnels, avec pour vision de pouvoir tirer l'agent féminin pour qu'elle sorte de sa léthargie. C'est ce message que je voudrais adresser à votre attention, modestement, au nom de toutes les femmes africaines, parce que la voix qui m'a été donnée maintenant, c'est en votre nom, et j'espère que vous m'accompagnez dans ce souhait. Et nous voudrions inviter Estherine à ne pas perdre de courage, à continuer à plaidoyer pour ses sœurs africaines, pour que la femme africaine soit exemple dans le monde. Et nous en avons la capacité. Nous sommes la mère du monde et nous devons prendre notre place. Elle l'a dit le premier jour, nous devons prendre notre pouvoir, nous faire mieux comprendre, mieux nous faire entendre et influencer les politiques pour améliorer l'environnement de la femme rurale. Au revoir mes sœurs et que Dieu nous accompagne. Et félicitations à Estherine et merci au NEPAD. Et merci également à la ville qui nous accueille. Nous devons les remercier parce que notre séjour a été agréable. Merci.